Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will start with the construction of transformer. Construction of transformer. The major parts of the transformer are magnetic circuit, transformer winding, insulation and transformer tank. That is magnetic circuit, transformer winding, insulation and transformer tank. First we look at for the magnetic circuit. The characteristics that should be satisfied to use a magnetic material as a transformer core is: first, it should offer high permeability. Magnetic circuit properties are: it should provide high permeability. Next is core loss must be very low. Third, cost of the transformer core should be very less. What is magnetizing current? It is the component of the current drawn by the transformer winding in order to establish rated magnetic flux in the transformer core. Designing transformer with high permeability core medium can minimize the magnetizing current to a very low value. The advantages that can be obtained with less magnetization current demand is: if I magnetization reduces, then the copper loss can be reduced. Next, the operating power factor can be improved as the magnetizing current is a reactive component. Now, to minimize the core loss, always ferromagnetic materials are used because the hysteresis loss is very less. So, transformer is designed using a high permeability ferromagnetic material, for example steel. Whenever transformer core is excited using time varying magnetic field, a stationary induced EMF will be produced inside the transformer core. This EMF will circulate current within the cross section of the core material. These circulating currents are known as eddy currents. The direction of these is determined by the Lenz law. The additional power loss produced inside the transformer core due to these eddy currents is known as eddy current losses. These eddy current losses can be reduced using two techniques. First, by adding silicon impurity to the steel core so that the conductivity of the steel reduces. Due to this, conductivity of the core material will be reduced and hence the magnitude of the eddy current and hence the losses can be minimized. Around 5 to 7% of the silicon impurities can only be added to the steel core. Adding more than this may increase the brittleness of the core medium, that is, mechanical strength of the core reduces. Next is the magnitude of the eddy current loss can be reduced by providing the laminations to the core material. By doing laminations, the resistance for the path of the eddy current will be increased. So, the magnitude of the eddy current and the losses can be minimized. Eddy current losses are proportional to square of the thickness of lamination. Thickness of lamination is square. I am denoting eddy current loss by WE. It is proportional to thickness of lamination square. Lesser the thickness, more the advantage we have. For a 50 Hz system, thickness of lamination will be around 0.3 mm to 0.5 mm. Less than 0.3 mm thickness is mechanically weak, so transformer core may start deforming due to internal mechanical forces. However, the transformer core is a combination of a number of small cross-section core plates staggered to each other, having insulation among them. The insulation materials can be used are paper, varnish, pressed board insulation. Next we see that when a transformer core is laminated, total gross area is occupied by both core material and the insulation. However, flux will choose core material only to complete its path as the core is the high permeable compared to insulation. Now the relation between the net area of core with respect to gross area is gross area is equal to core area plus the insulation. So we define stacking factor as the ratio between net area of cross section with respect to the gross area. Practically this stacking factor is around 0.5 to 0.9. Now we see the methods to improve the permeability of the steel core. It can be increased using the two techniques HRGO, hot rolled grain orientation, and the second is CRGO, cold rolled grain orientation. However, due to superior mechanical properties, CRGO steel is more recommended than HRGO steel. Using CRGO procedure, all the grains are oriented in such that the magnetization is along the cube phase. So, the average permeability of the core material can be increased. Therefore, CRGO steel can be used up to a maximum flux density of 1.8 Tesla to 1.9 Tesla, whereas the conventional steel core can offer a maximum flux density of 1.3 to 1.4 Tesla. Hence, with the CRGO steel, we can operate transformer at high flux density. What is the advantage of this is that with high flux density, the size of the transformer reduces. Let's see what are the advantages of CRGO steel. As the permeability increases, the demand of magnetization current will reduce. Next, as the operating flux density is high, so the size of the transformer reduces. Also, all the grains are parallelly oriented along the higher magnetization, therefore magnetostriction phenomena reduces. Let's see what is the magnetostriction phenomena. When the magnetic core is excited with the alternating current source, dipoles change their orientation from one half cycle to other half cycle. Orientation of the dipoles will produce the changes in the physical orientation of the core. Due to this, the vibrations will be produced in the transformer core and the noise will be released. This phenomena is known as magnetostriction phenomena in the core material. Magnitude of the noise released out of the transformer core is proportional to the frequency of excitation. This is the property of the magnetic core, not the steel core. Now let us start with the ideal transformer. The characteristics that should be satisfied for an ideal transformer is core with infinite permeability, core with no iron loss. Iron loss must be 0. Windings without any resistance. Resistance of the winding should be 0 in order to have 0 copper loss. Magnetic circuit without any leakage flux. That is, leakage should be 0. Magnetic core with linear hysteresis loop. That is, BH curve must be linear. Case first. Transformer with infinite permeability core. If transformer core offers infinite permeability, then the demand for the magnetizing current will be equal to 0. However, designing a core with infinite permeability is not possible practically, so to offer high permeability, CRGO steel will be preferred. Using a high permeability core can minimize the magnetizing current to a very low value. In practical transformer, magnetizing current is as low as 4 to 5% of the rated value. Now we see The transformer consists of two windings known as primary winding that is connected to source circuit and secondary winding that is connected to the load circuit. Under no load condition, by assuming linear hysteresis nature, the magnetizing current and the field flux are proportional to each other. This is B proportional to flux. This is H proportional to mmf, or we can write magnetizing current. Phi is proportional to I magnetizing. Now, as we supply source on this side, current starts flowing. Since the circuit is under no load, therefore the current drawn is the magnetizing current. EMF E1 is induced, flux through the core. This is N1 turns, these are N2 number of turns, and here E2 is induced. E1 is the self-induced EMF, E2 is the mutually induced EMF. Now, primary induced EMF E1, we write it as minus N1 d phi by dt is equal to minus N1 d by dt of phi m sin omega t. Assuming that magnetization current is equal to Im sin omega t, hence flux will be phi m sin omega t. From this we get minus N1 phi m omega cos omega t, that is minus N1 phi m omega sin of 90 minus omega t. Hence we write as E1 is equal to N1 phi m omega sin of omega t minus 90. From this equation, induced EMF E1 across the transformer winding is lagging the main field flux by 90 degree. This is the main field flux, this is the induced EMF. As you can see, induced EMF is lagging flux by 90 degrees. So we draw the phasor as, if this is the main flux, this is the magnetizing current. So this will be the induced EMF lagging by 90 degree. Supply voltage is being opposed by this induced EMF, hence V1 will in this direction. From the phasor diagram, the magnetizing current drawn by the primary winding is lagging the supply voltage by 90 degree. So it is a purely reactive component of the current. Now, as we saw, E1 is equal to N1 phi m omega sin of omega t minus 90 degree. Therefore, E1 maximum value of the induced EMF is N1 phi m omega, that is N1 phi m 2 pi f. Therefore, E1 RMS is equal to N1 phi m 2 pi f upon root 2, which is written as 4.44 phi m f N1 volts. Therefore, we can also write induced EMF RMS is equal to 4.44. Phi m is written as Pm into AC F into N1. This is the net cross-sectional area, not the gross cross-sectional area. This is the area of the core from where the flux passes. Now, the secondary induced EMF E2. We know E2 is the minus N2 d phi by dt, which is minus N2 d by dt of phi m sin omega t, that is minus N2 phi m omega cos omega t, which is written as N2 phi m omega sin of omega t minus 90 degree. From this equation, we get the secondary induced EMF is also lagging the main field flux by 90 degree. Hence, we say that this is the main flux. This was E1. Therefore, E1 and E2 are in same phase together opposing the supply voltage. This is 90 degree. From the same how I wrote for the E1, we can write E2 RMS is equal to 4.44 Bm AC F into N2. From these two equations, we can write E1 by E2 is equal to N1 by N2, which is the turns ratio. N1 is the number of turns in series in the primary winding and N2 is the number of turns in series in the secondary winding. We can also write as E1 upon N1 is equal to E2 upon N2 is equal to voltage per turn. Hence, induced EMF per turn in primary and secondary is equal. Now, let me give the summary of what we saw just now is frequency of induced EMF in both primary and the secondary winding is equal. Magnitude of the induced EMF for a given flux density is proportional to the number of turns. So, higher the voltage winding requires more number of turns and lower the voltage winding requires lesser number of turns. Since magnitude of the induced EMF for the given flux density is proportional to the number of turns, so high voltage winding requires more number of turns and low voltage winding requires less number of turns. Even though total induced EMF is different in primary and the secondary, but the voltage induced for each turn is same on the primary and the secondary. Next, let us see case 2. Transformer with finite core loss. Core loss, also known as iron loss. Whenever magnetic material is excited using an alternating current source, then two losses can be observed inside the transformer core. First is hysteresis loss and the second is eddy current loss. Hysteresis loss can be minimized by selecting high permeability ferromagnetic material. Eddy current losses can be minimized by adding silicon impurities to the steel core and by providing laminations. These iron losses are minimized to a very low value during the construction of the transformer. In practical transformer, iron losses are equal to 1 to 2% of the rated power capacity. Under no load condition, current drawn by the transformer is very small in magnitude. So, the copper losses produced due to this current can be neglected. Therefore, the total active power drawn during the no load condition is almost equal to the iron loss of the transformer. To produce iron losses, an active component of the current is drawn by the transformer winding, known as the working component IW. It is also called the core loss component IC or the iron loss component II. What I am saying that this IW also known as the core loss component or the iron loss component. Next, what we saw just now that under no load condition, output power is equal to 0. Hence, the input power is equal to P out plus losses. Under no load this is 0. Therefore, input power is equal to losses. Therefore, under no load condition, input power is equal to iron loss plus copper loss. This is neglected under no load condition. Therefore, no load losses is equal to nothing but the iron loss. And this no load current drawn consists of IW and I mu. IW is the working component and I mu is the magnetizing component. This I mu is required to set up the flux in the transformer core, and IW is to supply the losses. From phasor, what we see, this is the main flux, this is the supply voltage, induced EMF E2, this is the magnetizing component, this is the active component, together this is the no load current. Say this is phi naught. Hence, from phasor we can write IW is equal to I naught cos phi naught and I mu is equal to I naught sin phi naught. Therefore, I naught is equal to under root IW square plus I mu square. This phi naught is the no load power factor angle. Lies from 75 to 80 degree lagging. Therefore, no load power factor cos phi naught is equal to 0.2 to 0.25 lagging. Now let's see what is the magnetizing component I mu and the core loss component IW. What is magnetizing current? It is the component of the current drawn by the primary winding of the transformer to produce rated magnetic flux inside the transformer core. This is purely a reactive component current. As the transformer is designed using high permeability core medium, I mu demand is very low. It is 4 to 5% of the rated value. I mu is 4 to 5% of rated value. As this I mu is lagging the voltage by 90 degree. This current can be represented using a lumped inductive reactance on the primary side of the transformer. It is not represented on the secondary side because I mu is drawn by the primary winding. So it is represented as Xm. This is I mu. This is V1. Xm is equal to V1 upon I mu. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. If you like the video, hit the like button, and for more such videos, please subscribe the channel. Thank you.